Retired former Pope Benedict XVI has admitted he made a false statement during an investigation into sexual abuse in the German Catholic Church. Benedict had previously said he did not attend a meeting in 1980 at which the transfer of a pedophile priest to his diocese was discussed. The former pope says he made the false statement due to what he now calls an editing oversight. A report released last week found that Benedict, who was then Cardinal Ratzinger, knowingly failed to act against 4 priests accused of child sex abuse in the 1980s. We can speak now to our religious affairs analyst, Martin Gach, for more on this story. Good evening, Martin. How significant is this admission from the former pope?
Well, I mean, it's very significant, obviously. I mean, this is really quite shocking. What we have is basically the admission not only of a lie, but the admission of a lie concerning priests that were actually actively engaged in sexually abusing children. So, this goes obviously all the way to the very top of the church and basically forces very, very serious questions, which go, I think, at this point way beyond the church itself.
What might happen to Benedict and other church leaders involved?
Well, in the context of the church itself, it's really very unlikely that anything will happen to Benedict. I mean, he's an emeritus pope, he's very old, and he's retired, and he is essentially, once again, the very top. He has been at the very top of the organization. The question, however, is whether prosecution would actually direct their sides to Benedict. We know that there are 40 people thereabout that are being looked into, or their case are being looked into by the prosecution. But sort of, the immediate answer to that is really that very likely nothing will happen to Benedict.
This big admission, as you said, coming off the back of the report that was just released last week about the church in these cases of sex abuse in the 80s, could this lead to any form of justice for the victims?
I mean, we cannot go on much more than opinion and precedent, really. So far, what we have seen is sort of repeated apologies from church members. We have seen different ways in which, the states, I mean, in this case, Germany, have attempted to look into cases that for a very long time they clearly had not actually taken seriously enough. But the question of redress, I think it's really no different than it was a week ago before we found out that Ratzinger, had lied about the cases. Keep in mind that there are, sort of about 500 cases contemplated within this report, and really, I mean, it's not any bigger or smaller than previous reports. The only one major difference we do know now is that, essentially misconduct, which is one of what the lawyers in the case called it, went all the way to what then became the top of the Catholic Church.
Our religious affairs analyst, Martin Gach. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too, Sumi.